Welcome to our 10th video in our seasonal sampler series. Each tutorial features one or more beginner to intermediate quilting techniques, along with directions for a small quilt. In this video, you'll find out about using quick corners in place of triangles. You'll also learn how to add this 3D scarf. Ready to begin? You can find this supply list below with links to the cutting directions and to other videos in our seasonal sampler series. Let's start building the snowman from the bottom up. For the body, cut a 6.5-inch square and then 4 2.25-inch squares. These will be used to make those triangles in the corners. It's much faster figuring and cutting squares as opposed to triangles, hence the name quick corners. Draw a diagonal line from corner to corner on the back of each one of the squares. Place the square in the corner with right sides together. Stitch on the line, press, and then trim the excess. You will have some waste from this method, but I think you'll prefer cutting quick corners rather than dealing with these triangles and this hexagon shape. Cut a rectangle 1.5 by 4.5 for the scarf and then cut two 1.5-inch squares. Put right sides together and stitch. Press to the outside. To make the rest of the scarf, I cut a piece 2.5 inches by 12 inches. I put right sides together and then I stitched. Open up the seam and then find the center, match it to the center, and press. Sew a 1/4-inch seam across on both ends. Fold the scarf in half and cut. Trim the corners. Use a skewer or knitting needles to turn these inside out and then press, making sure that the seam is in the center of the back. Check to make sure that the width of each of these pieces is the same, and then put right sides together and stitch a 1/4-inch seam. After pressing, you'll want to add the other sections of the scarf. Angle the pieces in a pleasing way and maybe shorten one or both and then pin. Stitch about 1/8 of an inch across and then trim the excess. The snowman's head is also made with quick corners. This rectangle was cut at 5 inches by 6.5 inches, and then these are 2-inch squares. Be careful when you draw the diagonals that they start in the very corner and end in the corner. I noticed when I went to sew this, my marked line was off a little. Luckily, I was able to correct this when I sewed. Before stitching this to the rest of the body, you might want to add a face using buttons or applique or maybe embroider it. I decided just to leave mine blank. Lay out your pieces. Put right sides together and stitch. Press towards the head. Cut one 2.5 by 5-inch rectangle for the hat and then 1.25-inch by 5-inch for this band. Stitch those together. Add the two background sections to the top of the hat and these two sections to the brim. I cut these a little bit larger than I needed because they're hard to handle. It's easier for me to have a little extra on the ends here. I sewed these together and then trimmed. Put right sides together and stitch. I added the hat and here's the snowman. In the next video you'll get directions for finishing up this seasonal sampler. Hope you stay tuned. If this project has you yearning for the holidays, you might like to try our Advent tree made from children's handprints. You'll find the links below. Thanks for visiting LearnHowToQuilt.com. Please share our patterns and videos with your friends. Thanks.